All right, my people. Let's talk about the interview between the BBC and the Minister of Information, Gospel Kazako. Now, I know many Malawians are furious and fuming if you go to the BBC page right now. So many Malawians are firing from all cylinders, saying that the BBC crossed the line in the things that they've done in the recent days from the posts that I've posted on their page concerning the films and the interview itself with the information minister, which I will talk about right now. Now, I am of a different view. Of course, I know that we need to be angry and we need to be patriotic at all costs. But maybe we are concentrating on the wrong issues here. Now, the interviewer, I'll play the interview for you in case you haven't listened to it. But the interviewer was asking Mr. Kazako, saying some people, some Malawians, these are not foreigners, some Malawians were saying, why is the president giving money to the films when there are so many areas in the country that would need an injection of cash right now? Remember, we had, when COVID was at its peak, we had Malawians, pulling resources together, and Onjes and Kenani and all these people, because the state couldn't just do the job that it's supposed to do. So the hospitals, if you go to Malawian hospitals right now, there are so many things that are not there, and it's not out of this world to ask why you're offering money to footballers when you have so many problems. And surprisingly, Mr. Gospel Kazako goes to town on the BBC report. And now I just want to play a chunk of what he said so that we should analyze it and criticize it step by step. So let's go.
For joining us. Good evening to you. The scores are still 0-0 as we speak. So we don't yet know whether the Flames will prevail over the Lions in the last few minutes. But what do you make of those comments that we heard from some of your compatriots, sir?
You have to know that we have a culture here. We have a way of doing what we do. And I think those comments are very unfortunate, and we think that we are moving in the right direction.
Good. So he says we have a way of doing things in our own country. We have a culture. I don't know what culture this is. I don't know which culture in Malawi says when a national team is out there, and you cannot have money all the days of the year, but when you're about to win a major tournament, then we'll offer you more money. I don't know where this culture is coming from, which part of Malawian culture is referring to, but he says we are moving in the right direction. So let's give it to him.
However, as you heard some of them say, some said, yes, we can understand the intention. The intention may be good, but that when you have so many priorities such as economic hardship, one gentleman said, he said, no drugs in hospitals, food shortages, not enough agricultural resources. And he said that this money could be used to alleviate those kind of problems. Another Malawian you heard said that if you're playing for your country, that in itself, especially when you're paid as a player, should be enough. You shouldn't get those bonuses. What do you make of that?
We accept we are poor, yes, but we are not poor to an extent that we cannot exchange gifts, so we cannot give gifts. In our culture...
Okay, so this is where Gospel Kazako loses it. The reporter says, why are you issuing money to footballers when you have other priorities? He says, we are poor, yes, but we still have got money to exchange gifts. Sure, that is true for every country. But maybe Mr. Kazako is conflating two issues here. There's an issue of a reward, which you give in exchange for something. So if you do this for me, I will reward you with this. This is what the government is doing. The president is saying, if you win this game, you get 1 million kwacha. That is not a gift. That is a reward. A gift is something you give someone unconditionally. It's your birthday, here's a gift. You're someone I like, here's a gift. You're getting married, here's a gift, without expecting something in return. So the Minister of Information here is already way off the chart. He misunderstood the question. He's trying to derail the conversation from the actual question. So he's saying, we have a culture where we share gifts. Even though we're poor, we still can't share gifts. Nobody says you shouldn't share gifts. And these are not gifts anyway. These are rewards. But why are you giving them money when you could have given them 20 months ago, when you could have given them to the academy, so that Malawi as a team should be better, not because they are about to win a match with Senegal, but it should be a better team going to the AFCON finals. So let's continue.
Gifts. It could be animals, it could be land, it could be money. And they're thinking that this is wrong because we have problems. I think that's very retrogressive. You might wish to know that it's not just the President Lazarus Chakwera that has pledged the, things of value. You're looking at so many Malawians, so many business Malawians. Some are giving eggs, some are giving animals, some are giving land. So it's actually a culture. I think this story somehow, to me, is smelling some fragrance of imperialism of some nature.
Okay, so he says so many other Malawians are pledging to give the players eggs, land, whatsoever. Good, but we are talking about public money, which has to go through budgeting processes. You have to plan for this money. You can't just stand up and say, okay, so from the government coffers, we will give anyone who plays well 2 million kwacha. Now that is just way off the line. And then he goes on to say the questions coming from the BBC seem to be smelling of imperialism. I would like to lecture Mr. Kazako to say, if there's one person or one country that is supposed to tell us how to spend our money, it's the UK. They give us so much money. They fund our education. They fund our hospitals. They have a right to tell us how we spend our money, and they have a right to question how we spend our money. But that was not even on balance on in this interview. They're just saying, is this public money that you're giving to these players? And could you not have given them area when they were preparing, when they wanted money? Could you not spend this money as part of your sports ministry budget so that the football team should be better and well paid, and not just something that you should do in reaction? We should not be reactionary. But Mr. Kazako doesn't seem to understand this and is trying to bring in these words, imperialism, and then, nah, that's not it. There was nothing imperialistic about this BBC question. And this is BBC Africa. All the reporters that are doing this and the producers, they are all Africans. So they're asking legitimate questions. We should not try to run away from the issues. We are one of the poorest countries in the world. We cannot just stand up to say, here's some money, here's some money. No, if we want to invest in football, let's invest in football infrastructure. Let's pay them well from the word go, whether they lose or they win. We shouldn't just come up to the podium to steal the show from the boys to say, yeah, I will give you money if you win. Nah, that's not it. So let's continue listening to the shambles of the information minister.
These things happen in America. It happens in Britain. There, you do these things in one or the other. So this is. He's
right. So, some countries do have payment structures for people who do well. For example, the UK, the Americans will pay gold medalists up to $40,000 US if they get a gold medal. That is set. It's cast in stone. So it's like that. And the UK gives people who have the potential to win a gold medal, for example, they are scaffolded through the training, all through the process. So it's a process that sees and supports the sports people, and it's not just when they're already at the Olympics say, oh yeah, you've qualified to the last hit of the 100 meters. If you win this one, the government will give you 20,000. No, that's not how it's supposed to be done. Sure, you can motivate people, but we shouldn't be reactionary. I can't say this loud enough.
Do things, accept that this is how we do things. And I think there's a cultural clash here.
Well, I think not, because I think there are many African countries where you see where the same thing is done. People have been pledged cars. I believe it's in Guinea that even they were told that do right by your nation, or you might have to give some of the money that was used back. I mean, it's not that we're saying it's unique to Malawi, but we are asking why the president felt it necessary to give a monetary reward when they are being paid, and when there are so many crises within the nation. And perhaps a question that some of our listeners are also interested in is where the money will come from. I mean, you've already talked about some of the private donors giving eggs and some such, but is this going to be a personal token from the president, or it's coming from the public coffers, I may ask?
I think that is not here nor there. This is Malawi money happening in Malawi, going to Malawians. And I think...
To me, he answered that question to say, where is the money coming from? So he said, this is Malawi money. I will believe that this money is coming from the government, in which case the president himself should not steal the show here and act like he's, charitable, like he's the man. This is government money. And if it's government money, there should be proper processes of, issuing this money. We had the same issues with the previous president, who promised, 2 private teams, I'll buy you buses, team buses. He did buy them buses, and he said this money is coming from my own pocket. Well, as it turned out, it was government money. So these leaders should not fool us, should not be out there, taking all the praises and seeming like they're, benevolent bastions of, charity, when it's actually government money and it's being used in ways that, are not budgeted, in ways that are not procedural, in ways that don't help anything. So what, you give them money to win, one game, and then what? What's next? The next game, you have to make another pledge, another donation. This is not how it's supposed to be. The teams should be supported from the grassroots going up. The pay scale for each player should be good enough so that it should be motivation enough to play for Malawi. It should be motivation enough. The pay grade should be okay, so that when they go to these international tournaments, they are already motivated. No need to promise them any more money. They already know. Amango ziwirat.
As I said, this is not smelling good at all, because what you are saying basically is to say you are poor and you cannot give each other gifts. You're saying you are poor, then you can't motivate each other. You're poor, then you can't...
These are not gifts. One more time, these are not gifts. This is a bonus. This is a reward. This is not a gift.
Not do anything. I think we don't have to be looking at that way. I think you heard your...
It's not imperialist, if I may say, sir.
In our culture, we motivate each other. We give gifts during funerals. We give gifts during weddings, during engagements. We have a culture here. And
I don't think anybody is challenging that, sir. I'm from Nigeria, but...
And this thing that is in our culture. Which culture? The Chewa culture? And we give gifts during funerals. So what type of gifts do we give during funerals? Oh, if you die peacefully, we'll give you gifts. No, we don't. We give arms. We help out the bereaved family. So, like in my culture, if someone dies, the community pulls resources together to pull them through. If someone is struggling with something, we pull resources to pull them through. That is not a gift. Those are arms. That is a charitable movement to help out. And that is not what the president is doing here with the Flames at the AFCON. He is giving them money if they win a game, and that is not something that is in Malawian culture. That is not what is in Malawian culture, and I don't know what Malawian culture is and what this said culture that the minister seems to be referring to.
The question here, sir, is not a case of whether or not gifts are given as part of one's culture. It is more the fact that you heard from your own compatriots, your own citizens, saying they don't see why this money is being paid to people who are already representing the country and being paid for it when there are priorities that can be paid for from the national coffers. So this has nothing to do with imperialism. This is from your own people asking these questions.
There are also millions of our people who are agreeing with what the president has done. What you have done is just to pick a few that would actually side with your way of thinking, the way of how.
So the minister is accusing the BBC of picking a few comments and saying, oh, you're picking a few negative comments, but there are millions who support our decision. But he doesn't state where that figure comes from. He's also picking a few. He's not done a survey. He's not done a census. So here we are. The BBC is saying, yeah, there are some people who don't like this. And he says, oh, but there are people who like this. Does that make it right? Even if there are so many people who like what is happening here, is it right though? Is it procedural though? Is it the right thing to do though? Is it the thing that a bureaucracy, a government should do though? This is the question that the minister is not answering.
Things done. We have millions here. I would encourage you to go on your website or on your site or your Facebook page and see the many comments that Malawians have made supporting the president, that he has motivated his players.
Yes, and indeed there are also those who would say, but why not motivate them before they got to Cameroon? Was there no way that prior to this tournament, prior to the Cameroon campaign, I believe in November there was another fundraiser? Could the money not have been made available during the preparations as an incentive, rather than just saying, if you win, we will give you an extra bonus?
Who is giving these instructions? It looks like you are giving us instructions so that we follow the way you want things to be done.
But you heard your own compatriots saying it, sir.
No. Very few compatriots, the ones that you're talking about, just a handful. I have told you that we have millions here. If you want to be balanced and if you want to be fair, certainly you'll be overwhelmed. There are millions of Malawians that are supporting what the president has done. And you can see what our players are doing right now on the pitch. Senegal is a very big team.
It's just hard to concentrate on the thought process of the minister here. He's trying to evade the question. And honestly, it's regrettable that this guy is out there representing the country. It's one thing to, speak like that. Oh, culture, it's all culture. This is African culture. I've heard this argument so many times. I've seen it in the South African parliament. Someone was being accused of something and said, "Oh, I'm African. This is what Africans do." Which Africans? We're also Africans, and we don't do this. And this is definitely not good government. And this is definitely not the best way to approach, the theory of motivation. If we're going to motivate people, is this really the right thing to do? Is this how we're going to motivate our players? By waiting for them to go to the World Cup, to the AFCON, and then saying, oh yeah, if you win this game, we will give you money, And it's not like it's a lot of money. It's peanuts, What's the use? The money that was given in terms of psychology, the money that was offered can do nothing. The players were already motivated. They were facing Senegal, a team that they've always coveted to be like. All the people in the Senegal team are from play in the European leagues. So the Malawian team was already pumped. They had adrenaline flowing in the events. The money that was promised by the government doesn't add anything. If, however, these people are well paid from the start, if every Malawian player is paid well, there will be so many people in the grassroots wanting to be players in the national team, and then we will get quality cream in the national team, because people will know that it's a career that will pay you more. It's not just something that will give you a random offer of eggs from the president. No, that's not how it's supposed to be. So it's regrettable that this is what the minister was out there, pushing. It's nonsensical. It doesn't reflect, good logic, and it definitely doesn't represent every Malawian. So he is also wrong. I don't know where he's getting the numbers that millions are supporting this. People want hospitals to be, to have things. We need good social services. We don't just want to be splashing money anyhow. Sure, it's a good thing to motivate our team. We would like our team to win, but but this idea that this is how it's supposed to be done is just something I don't see as prudent.
Managed to hold them. And just now we have just been robbed a penalty. Just now we have just been robbed a penalty. You know, we are supposed to win this game. So I don't think that we'll be able to accept this as wrong. We think we are right. I think
and so many of us are cheering. But
there's some general of Afrophobia coming from that side. That when we're poor,
he says there's Afrophobia. What the fuck? Who? Afrophobia is the fear of Africans. Who is afraid of Africans? The BBC? BBC Africa? These are black presenters, you know. Why do we quickly run to the victim card when we are being questioned on issues that are pertinent and important? Why should we cry wolf when we are supposed to just give an explanation?
Mr. Kazako, you'll see many of us here are actually cheering on the Flames as the underdog. And I think you'll see if you go to our Facebook page, the very balanced comments. But thank you very much.
If you go to the Facebook page now, Malawians are screaming at the BBC, accusing them of being biased. And you know, it's ridiculous what is happening out there, and it shouldn't be like that. Anyway, my name is Bright Muhango. I'll see you in another video where I break down issues like these again, and have a nice Friday. Ciao. Apa kuti wayasima dende ni vichi ndera ndera dende ni vichi ndera ndera dende ni nchunga dende ni nchunga dende ni nchunga ndera ndera dende ni nchunga ndera ndera apa kuti